of inculcating a research culture among the undergraduates and to publicize the tried and tested magnificent ideas of the students of the faculty.
Well, as a customary in this part of the world, we commence any auspicious time with divine blessings. Upholding the traditions of Sri Lanka, we welcome our honorable chief guest and other dignitaries to join us in the lighting of the oil lamp.
Indeed, keeping in line with the rich traditions and the culture of Sri Lanka, let us invite our guest of honor, Senior Professor Udayaratnayaka, the Vice Chancellor, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka, to light this event first.
He will be followed by Professor Asha Karunaratne, the Dean, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka.
Then we will be joined by Dr. Chaturika Jiwanti, the Conference Chair of AgSURS-2022.
Next, we also invite Professor E.P.N. Udayakumara, the Dean, Faculty of Applied Sciences, Professor H.M.S. Priyanath, the Dean, Faculty of Graduate Science, Mr. P.G. Vipula Abhiratna, the Dean, Faculty of Geomatics, to join us in the lighting of the oil lamp.
They will be followed by the Head of the Department of Export Agriculture, Dr. Kumara.
Representing the directors of the centers of the university, we will also be joined by the Professor Chandrika Disanayaka, the Director of the Center for Research and Knowledge Dissemination.
They will be followed by Mr. S. Uyangoda, the Registrar, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka.
Next, we also invite Mr. K.A.R.S. Jayakodi, the Pursa, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka.
He will be followed by Mr. Nimesh Madhushankar, the Symposium Coordinator, AgSURS-2022.
Finally, let's invite Ms. Obini Disanayaka, the Secretary, AgSURS-2022.
Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, we would like to call on the following dignitaries to grace us at the dais. We will start off again with the guest of honor, Senior Professor Udayaratnayaka, the Vice Chancellor of Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka, at the dais.
We also like to invite the Dean, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Professor Asha Karunaratne, to join him at the head's table.
Next, we would like to invite Dr. Chaturika Jiwanti, the Conference Chair, AgSURS 2022.
Then she will be followed by Mr. Nimesh Madhushankar, the conference coordinator, AgSURS 2022.
Finally, we would like to invite Ms. Ovini Disanayaka, the Secretary, AgSURS 2022.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we are now joined by our dignitaries on the heads table right here on the stage, it's now time for us to formally commence AgSURS 2022 with the national anthem.
May we please request the entire gathering to rise for the national anthem of Sri Lanka.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may please take your seats now. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the inauguration of AgSURS 2022. AgSURS 2022 is the very first undergraduate research symposium conducted by the Faculty of Agriculture Sciences, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka.
Indeed, we are excited to note that this very first AgSURS Symposium is joined by many distinguished guests representing various research and academic bodies in the university as well as in the country. So, with such a dynamic representation in our audience, we know you are eagerly waiting for a kickstart for this event.
Well, unlike we formally welcome the gathering, there is someone very special amidst us today to welcome all of you to this occasion. Well, Rumi, who is that?
Of course, indeed, to formally welcome all of you for giving us the gift of your presence here in this event, I would like to invite Dr. Chaturika Jiwanti, the symposium chair, to the lectern. Thank you.
Chief Guest, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Uday Ratnayaka, Keynote Speaker Professor Ranjit Senaratna, the Dean, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Professor Asha Karunaratna, Head of the Department of Export Agriculture, all the senior professors, senior and all academic staff members, registrar, RESA, all the technical administration and other non-academic staff members, all other guests, and my dear students who are participating through online. It is a great privilege to invite you to the very first Agricultural Sciences Undergraduate Research Symposium of 2022, held at the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka. It is a great pleasure to announce that we are successfully organized this event on a virtual platform to gather the academics, researchers, and other interested parties, avoiding the prevailing hardship in Sri Lanka. This conference aims to publish and make awareness on the young scientists, and it endures the theme Explore the World through Research and Innovation. We believe that this conference offers a great opportunity for academics, researchers, and students to present their research findings and discuss about their latest research. We hope this will be a platform to disseminate the students' work to the national and international audience. The abstracts presented have been selected through a peer review procedure, and we sincerely thank all the researchers who submitted their abstract for consideration, representing 7 thematic fields: agricultural economics and agribusiness management, agri-environmental modeling, agronomy and soil science, processing and post-harvest technology, agricultural economics and agribusiness management, livestock production and food safety, plant breeding and biotechnology, and plant protection. On behalf of the organizing committee of the AgSURS 2022, I would like to extend our thanks to the editorial board and the panel of reviewers for their vigilant work. Our sincere thanks also go to the chairmen for their professional input in this technical forums. I wish to warmly welcome the Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Uday Ratnayaka, and thank for his excellent support whenever we ask. Also wish to welcome Dean of the Faculty, Professor Asha Karunaratna, all the senior academic members of the faculty, with a warm thanks, recalling the valuable comments and all their tremendous support. We are extremely grateful to welcome Professor Ranjit Senaratna, Chairman of the National Science Foundation, thanking for accepting our invitation to be the keynote speaker of the conference. We warmly thank our sponsors for their support in this event. Ahead, Accelerating Higher Education, Expansion and Development, Satuta Builders Private Limited, Versatile Business. We cordially welcome to the event all the committee members, all the respective deans who are actively involved and supported us, the entire staff of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, and all the administrative staff of the university, with sincere thanks for their assistance on putting this conference together. We also wish to thank all the technical support that given to make this virtual event a success. I thank the coordinator of the event and the secretary for all their support being beside me by giving many hands. Finally, once again, I warmly welcome you all to this event, which we aim to stand to be a platform for all the undergraduates to give recognition through publishing their hard and scientifically valuable work. We wish everyone an unforgettable professional experience at this event, very first Agricultural Sciences Undergraduate Research Symposium of 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Sri Lanka, being an agricultural country from its inception, our culture, tradition, and livelihood are nurtured by agriculture itself. Moreover, agriculture is a main livelihood of most of the rural population in Sri Lanka. Hence, agriculture has a capacity to alleviate rural poverty and to empower the rural community socially and economically while improving the agriculture infrastructure.
Well, in the context of current Sri Lankan agriculture sector, advanced research and innovation can bring the expected renaissance to the Sri Lankan agriculture system. As a leader in agriculture education, the Faculty of Agriculture Sciences, Sabaragama University of Sri Lanka, focuses on achieving this goal by creating new knowledge via continuous research and innovation in different aspects like agribusiness, crop production, and livestock production.
Now I respectfully invite Professor Asha Karunaratna, the Dean of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, to enlighten the gathering with her inspiring words.
Okay, very good morning to all of you, the Vice Chancellor, Sir, Senior Professors Uday Ratnayaka, our keynote speaker today, Senior Professor Ranjit Senaratne, the Chairman of the National Science Foundation, my fellow academics, and also all the administrative staff who are joining today, and especially the paper presenters and dear students who are online due to the current situation. Otherwise, we would invite all of you to the faculty today. So actually, I am very delighted to endorse this very remarkable event of the faculty, the first undergraduate symposium of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, because this gives our students to showcase their research and innovation to a wider audience. So I think now the other important thing is this batch of students, it gives a very remarkable milestone because they are the first batch of food business management who are graduated this year, and also the first batch who followed the revised new curriculum of agricultural sciences with 6 specialization modules. So with that, we are fortunate to host this event as the undergraduate research symposium with all of your participation. And this AgSURS-2022 brings the research and innovations from the field of agricultural sciences as well as the food business management, who are our graduates of the faculty. And at the moment, we have selected, for the symposium, we have selected 44 abstracts through the peer review process. Our students are doing very interesting and very useful research to the agriculture sector, as our colleagues Ruvini and Aditya mentioned. Our faculty, we produce a lot of new knowledge to the farmers as well as to the agriculture community in a wider extent. Apart from the agriculture, the food business is also a key area because the production itself doesn't help. So the marketing and the business of the food items is also a very important area. So our students are very smart in those areas. Actually, not only through the graduation, throughout their degree program, the curriculum has inculcated the research to a greater extent. The students do mini projects, they do develop products, so they do marketing, they start their entrepreneurships, they start their small businesses. So that's how we produce our graduates. So I am very proud to congratulate our graduates for this year 2022, the food business and the agriculture students who are ready to present their findings through the technical sessions that we'll host straight after this inauguration event. And especially now, as you know, these students had undergone very rough period when they were doing their research, because it was with the COVID-19 pandemic situation. there was some lockdown situation. The students couldn't go to the field, they couldn't go to the industries, there were some travel restrictions. So with all the hardships, the students have done their job to a very great extent. We had their final year thesis defense exam, so we noticed that the students have done wonderful job. So with that, I really appreciate the hard work of the students as well as the supervisors who guided them to produce such very important products. So the other thing is now, as you all know, the country is in a very critical financial situation that reflects, that waves comes to the university as well. So I think this is the this event was organized with very minimum cost. So we didn't use a lot of funds for this event, organizing these events, we minimized. So in that sense, I really appreciate the hard work of all the staff members and the organizing committee for handling with minimum financial assistance to make this a success. But I think we are in a very good stage because we have done everything with the marginal expenses. So that is a good learning experience that even we will get some funds in future, we will try to utilize minimum funds for this kind of events. So we have some well-wishers as sponsors who supported in a small amount of money provided for us to maintain this success. And AHEAD also had some contributions, so they were very willing to give some funds with the existing projects. So that's also a great support to the faculty. And with that, I will congratulate all the paper presenters today. And hopefully we will have very fruitful sessions over 8 technical sessions from 11 a.m. onwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your inspiring words, madam. Next, I cordially invite Dr. Chaturka Jivanti, the coordinator, the conference chair, to hand over the token of appreciation to the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture Sciences.
Thank you very much, madam. Nothing can be achieved without proper leadership. A leader is a person who inspires a group of people towards the achievement of a goal. Though the word leadership has many definitions, for us, the definition of leadership is a vice chancellor.
We are blessed to have a great visionary leader to guide us from the front, who make the impossible possible. I now cordially invite Senior Professor Uday Ratnayaka, the Vice Chancellor, Sabarkama University of Sri Lanka, to deliver the presidential address as the head of this institute.
Very good morning. Professor Ranjit Senaratne, the keynote speaker today, Dean of the Faculty, Professor Asa Karnaratne, Dean of the other faculties, Registrar, Bursa, professors and other academic staff members of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Assistant Registrar, and all the other non-academic staff members of the faculty, especially the students who are going to do their research presentations today. I'm very happy to be here today to see the outcome of the research carried out by the talented agriculture undergraduates. When I see the conference theme, explore the world through research and innovation, one thing comes to my mind is that we human beings have dominated in this world. We have dominated over all other animals. We have changed the natural environment according to our requirements for the betterment and easiness of our life. We human beings have changed everything in the world. We have changed this world, and also we have dominated all other animals because of one of the important character that we have. That is the ability of doing research. Because of that ability only, we have come to, as human beings, we have come up to this level. We can do research in different things. We can do research for knowledge. We can do research to analyze things. We can do research to unveil things. We can do research for finding out new innovations. We can do research and analyze, which lead to establishment of different policies. So we can do research for many things. That ability has been the key thing behind this success in domination, success in changing the environment according to our requirements. In that sense, research is a very important thing. When it's come to research, the outcome of research, whether the outcome is expected outcome at the beginning or not, is important. Whether the finding is positive or negative is important. The negative findings, unexpected outcome, also have similar value as the expected or positive research finding. Sometimes the value may be higher than that. Most of the important research findings because of some accidents in research. So all the research carried out by all the researchers, all these undergraduates are very important. All these research findings will help us, will help this world, especially the agriculture sector, but for other sectors as well, in the future, for the development of the knowledge, to have new innovations, to establish new policies, to establish new theories for many things. So you have done a great job. I congratulate all the undergraduates who will be graduate in their graduation ceremony within a couple of weeks. I congratulate you for your research findings. Your commitment toward this research is commendable. Also, I would like to thank their supervisors who guide them in their research, because scientists have done research on research, how to do research, what are the methods to follow in research. So they have done research on research, and they have established scientific method to do research. So those things you can't learn by yourself within a shorter period of time. So that to guide you, there should be some supervisors. They are the one who guide you because they have the knowledge about carrying out research. When you have problem when carrying out research, they are the one who give solutions for those. So I would like to thank all the supervisors as well. And in this symposium, I can see the faculty has given chance to many young staff members to play key roles. One of my policy as Vice Chancellor is also to give chance to young staff members to play roles and learn and come to a level that they can accept higher responsibilities, higher positions in future. I would like to thank the Dean of the Faculty and all the other senior academic staff members for taking a decision as such and giving them an opportunity. When you when in your speeches before me, when you say the name of Professor Ranjit Senaratne after me, I felt little uncomfortable, and I felt like my speech may not be completed if I do not say a few words about him, though there is a formal introduction before his keynote speech. So without taking much of your time, I will just say a few words about him. Professor Ranjit Senaratne is, all of you know, as a leading academic administrator who has held all these positions in university systems, including head of department, dean of faculty, vice chancellor in the other universities than his university, and UGC vice chairman, now NSF chairman, and there are so many academic administrative positions that he has held. So you know him as a very good academic administrator who always, whenever he goes, initiate new things, valuable new things. But I don't think that most of you know him as a researcher. He's an internationally recognized researcher. I just want to give you one example. He is one of the few scientists who have awarded the most outstanding young researcher award by the World Academy of Science. So that shows, there's only one, there are so many to say, that shows that he is a very good researcher. So your selection is absolutely correct for this event. I would like to thank him on behalf of all of us at the university, especially on behalf of the students of the university, for accepting our invitation to do the keynote speech. It would be very encouraging for our undergraduates, and I consider it as a complete privilege. Thank you very much, Professor Ranjit Senaratne. for accepting our invitation. He is my teacher, my dean, my vice chancellor. With that, I would like to conclude my speech wishing all the undergraduates who are going to do their research finding presentation today to be successful today in their presentations, as well as to be successful in their life in future after graduate from this university within a couple of weeks, as I mentioned before. And also I congratulate all the organizers, the faculty, led by the dean, all the others, head of department, professors, conference organizers, everyone. I would like to congratulate and thank you for this very nice and important arrangement in this conference. With that, I conclude my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I cordially invite Professor Asha Karunaratne, the Dean of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, to hand over the token of appreciation to Vice Chancellor, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. Starting from the dawn of civilization, agriculture has undergone dramatic changes along the path. Agriculture started to show an exponential spurt along with the Green Revolution, and today its growth has reached for the heights as never before, with the introduction of novel technologies and novel sophisticated machineries.
It has transformed from subsistence agriculture to a tech-savvy, knowledge-based circular agribusiness. To elaborate on this debatable topic, we respectfully invite Professor Ranjit Senaratne, the Chairman of the National Science Foundation, to deliver the keynote speech of AgSURS-2022. I cordially invite Professor Kapila Kumara to introduce Professor Ranjit Senaratne to the audience.
Very good morning to all of you. The Vice Chancellor, sir, Deans of the faculties, the conference chair, other members of the organizing committee, professors, the registrar, the bursar, other administrative staff of the university, my colleagues and my dear students. I am deeply honored and privileged to introduce Senior Professor Ranjit Senaratne, the Chairman of the National Science Foundation, as the keynote speaker of the Agriculture Undergraduate Students Symposium, AgSURS-2022, to this learned audience. This is an elaboration to the brief introduction made by the Vice Chancellor. The Professor Ranjit Senaratne was born in 1954 in Galle, and he received his secondary education in Ravana College in Mathura. He obtained his BSc in Agriculture and MPhil in Agriculture Biology at the University of Peradeniya. After joining the University of Runa in 1981, he proceeded to Vienna for his doctoral studies in 1982. Upon his return to Sri Lanka in 1986, he pursued research in the field of nutrient cycling in multiple cropping systems, nutrient dynamics in agroforestry systems, and reforestation of degraded lands. He has authored more than 100 research publications and dozens of books. In 1992, He was awarded the most outstanding young scientist in biology in Sri Lanka by the Third World Academy of Science in Rome. Professor Seonaratne has held a number of popular fellowships, including the Henry Mayer Fellowship and Marie Curie Fellowship. He was appointed Professor of Crop Science at the University of Rune in 1998 and served as the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Rune, for 8 years, before being appointed the Vice Chancellor of the University of Rune in 2001. He held the office of Vice Chancellor with prestige 6 years. As the Vice Chancellor, he strongly committed himself to promote academic excellence, high-impact research, creative enterprise, strategic partnership with industry, community development, and international relations. Under his visionary leadership and mature guidance, the University of Ruhuna made great strides in the academic, research, and outreach activities to emerge as a leader of higher education in Sri Lanka. He has served as a member of multitude of professional bodies and national committees in an advisory capacity, and has also been a member of consultative committee of the International Water Management Institute and the Hambantota District Chamber of Commerce. As chairman of the Committee of Vice Chancellors and Directors of the Universities in Sri Lanka in 2006, he initiated the CBCD Encouragement Award Scheme with the view of promoting academic excellence and high-impact research in Sri Lankan universities. In recognition of his outstanding contribution in education, science, community development, and international collaboration, the University of Durham in the UK conferred an honorary doctorate on him in 2007. He served as the chairman of the Ocean University and the vice chairman of the University Grants Commission, and currently he is the chairman of National Science Foundation. Thus, Professor Senaratne's contribution in the spheres of science, research, agriculture, development, and higher education over the past 40 years have been truly remarkable. His outstanding caliber and passionate commitment to science, coupled with administration, needs special commendation, I believe. In addition, I am not exaggerating if I may say this imposing personality is a person who is living the life to the fullest. And there is no evil eye, sir. You are a person who never seems to age. Thank you very much. Over to you, Professor Ranjit Senara.
Good morning, Professor Udaya Ratnayaka, Vice Chancellor, Sabarga University, Sri Lanka, Professor Asha Karuratna, Dean of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Dr. Chaturika Jivanti, Conference Chair, professors, members of the academic and administrative staff, dear students. It affords me great pleasure to be associated with a very important event on the first scientific sessions by the students of this distinguished university. When I received this invitation from Professor Asha, I most readily and in fact gratefully accepted it because of a couple of reasons. First, University of Sabargang for me is not just another university. And more fundamentally important for me, because this is a student session. Now, as senior academics, administrators, we have a moral obligation, we have a bounden duty to create and sustain conducive and enabling environment so that this youth will blossom in keeping with their innate and inborn potential, not to the benefit of self, but also to the community. So I'm very happy about this, and I wish to get into my topic, which is just give me a second just to share the screen. Yes, as informed, right. So as already informed, I will be speaking briefly during my address how we could transfer and why we should transfer conventional agriculture into tech-savvy circular agribusiness. And it will have several key subtopics. Relevance and importance of student sessions. Actually, I attach, as the Vice Chancellor mentioned, the students actually constitute the most important segment of the academic community because they are the future. So I thought it would be, though it is not directly in keeping with the theme, I thought it is appropriate to spend a little time on why we should really promote and nurture student sessions in universities. Then I get to status of agriculture, issues, constraints, interventions proposed, and agriculture of the future. You have very competent senior staff who have been teaching agriculture to you over the past 4 years. So I don't think there's much that I could add, but I will try to do justice to the topic during the time allotted. But this is my really pet area because I have grown with students. I am here today, Professor Uday knows, thanks to students. And we had really tempering because of interaction with students. So they are the building blocks and driving force of a country and the seedbed of future leaders. So we cannot really ignore or not recognize them. They are very energetic, enthusiastic, and more adaptable and responsive to change, that you know. And we need to lead, empower, guide and motivate them, and not to control. Generally, we see, even we talk about the knowledge economy, still human resources are also controlled and managed as inanimate assets like vehicles, building, information, funds, and so on. So we really need to lead, empower, guide, encourage, and motivate them. That way, we are very happy this under the able and vision leadership Vice Chancellor and also competent Dean. This session has been introduced at the Sabaragawa University. So this also, as mentioned before, will provide a platform for students to sharpen, hone their, and showcase their talents and skill, and conducive and enabling environment for them to blossom. They need to bloom, blossom unleashing their innate and inborn potential to the benefit of humanity. Confucius said, by nature, men are similar. Through nurture, they become distinct. That means whether you are born in Sri Lanka, USA, Ethiopia, Rwanda, or Japan, your IQ, your EQ, or even CQ, creativity quotient, at birth, same, similar, but it depends how you are, it could become different. How you are brought up at home, in school, at universities, workplaces, how you are brought up and nurtured. That is why it makes a big difference. So potentially all are on par at birth, but because of the different ways by which different human beings are brought up, it make a world of difference. I want to really substantiate what I said, that Sri Lankans, in terms of IQ, EQ, or CQ, are not second to none in the world. Some telling examples, Professor, late Professor Cyril Ponamperu. Americans in 1969 sent the Apollo to the moon, but it was not an American who touched the soil brought from the moon. It was Professor Cyril Ponamperu. You have many Nobel laureates in USA. 70% of Nobel laureates in the world come from the US, though their population account for less than 10%. And Professor Malik Peiris, is the first person who isolated SARS, to track that gene, SARS, which enabled the health authorities to bring this pandemic under control. Then Dr. Bandula Vijay, I think is the one who really invented, sustained and saved millions of lives across the globe. Then Rohan Pallewattu, he saw Sri Lanka really producing sensors for airbags of vehicles. They made in Japan or Germany, US, even for Benz. It's one producing, actually manufacturing airbags using local engineers. So we see our power of innovation, capacity to innovate is not second. And Sarath Gulapala is at NASA, top-notch scientist in Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And Chamath Palihapitiya, people now identify as the future Elon Musk. He's really doing very well and becoming a very popular figure in many fields, not only business, in several other fields. It's just a few examples to show that our students, they can really become top-notch scientists, top-notch technologists, top-notch entrepreneurs in the world. So that I want to really get across to my dear students, future leaders. Then, you all know late Dr. Abdul Kalam. Young scientists, it also, without providing inspiration, it also had a rejuvenating effect. So he said, a powerful resource ignited young minds. I repeat, ignited young minds. A powerful resource. A resource mightier than any resource on earth, in the sky, or under the sea. He said, without your involvement, we can't succeed. With your involvement, we can't fail. Message is very simple, but very powerful, clear, and loud. That is why this university decided to have this session for the students. Then, as you know, what I say, ignite. Sometimes this banyan tree, Nugagaha, a beej. You know the size of that seed, but seed's potential to grow into a huge banyan tree. But we know only very few seeds having the good fortune of developing a huge tree, because if we don't provide this conducive atmosphere for them to blossom. So that there are many students, many children in rural areas who are inherently very able, very highly brilliant, but they don't blossom because the conducive environment is not created, not available to them. So that is a challenge we are trying to do, reach out to this community and also to the rural areas. I get an example, this sapphire, I don't have to spend more time, but the message is clear. That's why we need to ignite, because without igniting, we cannot really get our youth to blossom. This type of a platform, as also Dean Professor has highlighted, will enable them to really hone and sharpen their skills and showcase their talents. And this will help them to really, this situation, this type of events will really ignite their scientific, innovative, and entrepreneurial passion. So this is that ignition has already taken place through this event. So the ignition, I don't spend time, but we have to ignite that. That is the ignition of young minds through these science sessions. Then I think, I hope our dean will not be uncomfortable that I take a bit more time to talk about general things, because you are doing teaching science, agriculture quite a lot. Probably they are all saturated with agriculture. So honor some of it. You know, Max Planck, you know, Albert Einstein, together, right? Contemporaries, but different age groups. You see, but Anna Sophil, not in the news very much, but he has been a very inspiring and brilliant teacher. And he produced 5 of his students got Nobel Prize. He produced 5 Nobel laureates for PhD and postdoc, but there's no Nobel Prize for education. So he didn't get a Nobel Prize, but he produced 5 Nobel Prize. It is an unbreakable record. Now he's the polling, the 5th person. I want to say, because we are talking to students who are, of course, now about to graduate, but we are learning from womb to tomb. So I think what I say is relevant. When this Professor Arnold came to conduct lectures, he found this polling, the 5th person. He was dozing off and sleeping most of the time. Generally, what we do is we expel such students. The class says, don't come, the sleeping beauty. I don't want to see you in my class. Hereafter, you can keep off, you can sleep in the dormitory. But polling had a different approach, very pragmatic, mature, humanitarian approach. After the class, he called this boy, Polly, and he thought to himself, I should really give him a tough assignment. Generally, it's tougher than what he generally gives to students who attend the class. And he said, okay, you do this and see me about a week's time. And to his pleasant surprise, this guy about 3 days' time turned up. And he went through the assignment. So it was marvelous. Right? And had he really kicked him out, well, the world would have lost him. Nobel laureate. That's what I want to say. Sometimes even Einstein has not been really excelling in the class because he has been living in his own world, right? Sometimes we are not very stimulating and exciting enough for these extraordinary brilliant students. So that's why I want to get this message calling. So I think I spent a fair amount of time, but I think it is important to underline the fact that why we need to really promote this type of sessions. And we like to see not only science sessions, but also in culture, arts, even university environment. Have student sessions. I think that is also part, as Vice Chancellor said, this is also research. Different type of research we could have, but this is for agriculture, but when the university having university programs could have other areas, new areas as well. And just I thought now, country, now you see, look at the brain to body mass, the ratio. So man, 1:40. So that is a very high ratio of, but if you cat smaller and elephant less. But today, how many of people really use the brain or use the right side of the brain? Now I talk to you, I use my left side. All creativity, innovation, all this comes from the right side of the brain. But we see people are using brawn, the muscles, rather than the brain. So there's you see more battles of brains than battles of brawns rather than battles of brain. And with this, I conclude my session on this. Why student session is very important. George Bernard Shaw. I really appreciate and admire him and read a lot about George Bernard Shaw. He said, 2% of the people think. 3% of the people think that they think. And 90% of the people would rather die than think. This is timeless, universal. Sarvakalina, Sarva Bhaumika Satya. So we would like our youth to think creatively, innovatively, and entrepreneurially. That is the whole idea behind holding this session amidst all difficulties by the Vice Chancellor, Dean, and members of the academic community. Today, as Vice Chancellor highlighted, we need more thinkers, more seers, and more visionaries, and not just status quo guards. I think with this, I will get into my topic. Oh, just one more thing, right? Because now nobody asked, Steve Jobs never believed in market research. He said people don't know what they want. Nobody asked for iPad or iPhone. Had Henry Ford asked people what they wanted, they should have said faster horse, never car. And nobody asked telephone from Alexander Bell. He invented. So I brought this up because you were talking about research and innovation. Now let me get on to the subject that is very important at present. There have been a lot of discussions, dialogues, criticisms, debates on agriculture and how to really address the issue of food security, food and nutrition security. So you know that now, after 72 years, they are still importing food costing around $2 billion annually. Netherlands, it's about a little over 40,000 square kilometers, about 60% the size of Sri Lanka, and about 5 months bad weather, cold weather, and you can't do agriculture. But they are the second largest exporter of agriculture produce in the world, and they are 115 billion they export in agriculture. Our GDP is only 80. Country 60% of our land, our extent of land, and second largest producer in the world. We are, in terms of IQ, EQ, CQ, anything, we are second to none. So we have the potential, and we have to really live up to that. And Israel, less than 600 millimeter rainfall. And if in our country, less than 1,750, we call dry zone. Right? They say 600 millimeter. They produce highest average yield in the world, 30 liters per cow. Ours is around 4 liters, and their highest yield about 40 liters. So that is I think this speaks volumes, though I don't talk much about this. I think this speaks volumes. So major issues in domestic agriculture, I am sure Professor Ash and all others have dealt with this subject. So I don't mean to get into detail, but low and stagnant yield, predominance of small holdings, low labor productivity, low resource efficiency, and these are issues including high ecological footprint, including water and energy. These are issues in agriculture which you all are thorough with. And if you take yield, lower, now you see our yield is steady around 4.6. Say Australia, 10 tons. Their yield 10 tons. So maize, ours is around, say, near about 4,000 metric tons. But say China, 10. So you see, there's a lot of room for improvement for which we need to do innovative and creative research. I don't take time on that. I think message is again clear and loud. Then income, we know the malnutrition, about 20% of these children are underweight and they are malnourished. There are serious issues. So agriculture is very, very important to really address this food and nutrition security concerns in the country. I want to get into some fundamental issues in agriculture. Contribution of agriculture to GDP and employment. You know Sri Lanka, about 26% of workforce in agriculture, which is 1/4, that is 2 million. We have 8 million total workforce, 25% there, that's 2 million. But this includes the GDP around 6 to 7%. But this includes fisheries and forestry as well, not only just crop production, but also fisheries and forestry. In Malaysia, they have only 11% of their workforce in agriculture, but contribution almost same, 7.7. You go to UK, only 1% employment in agriculture. And Netherlands, they are exporting. Second largest exporter, but employment in agriculture only 2.2% and GDP 1.6. Singapore, I want to say that, employment 0.5, their contribution to GDP is 0. But I want to come to the next point, food security. And you see why we have this problem. We have a low labor productivity in agriculture. You could see in industry 3.4 times more productive than agriculture, and service sector 3.6% high. So we see the problem. Even income generation, right? Central bank, agriculture power only about 182 rupees, industry 525, around services over 600. So agriculture is least rewarding and remunerating. But we have 25% of workforce in agriculture, I call trapped in agriculture. Now, look at this Malaysia. I showed it earlier, but I want to really focus on this. Sri Lanka GDP, contribution to agriculture is to GDP is about 7, but workforce 26%. Malaysia, comparable degree of contribution from agriculture, but 11%. I am comparing comparable circumstances. So we have 2 million. We are carrying a lot of excess baggage in agriculture. That's why we talk tech-savvy agriculture. We carry a lot of excess baggage. We should be able to bring down from 2 million to 1 million of farmers in agriculture. You saw they are very poor income and they are very serious nutritional issues. So we have to really recreate and reposition our agriculture through technological intervention. So we have a lot of excess and marginal labor in agriculture that should be retooled and reskilled to be absorbed by the manufacturing and the service sector. So agriculture, we see the problem. So we need to improve productivity where technological intervention, creative intervention, or creative destruction, or disruptive technologies, that is the jargon, the disruptive technologies needed to bring about change in agriculture. That is, we have failed to do that, but the task is on your shoulders, in your hands, dear students. But we will be behind you. Our blessings there, full of support and cooperation for you to really make that a reality. Then the Global Food Security Index. Now, what I want to show is here. Now, Sri Lanka, out of 113 countries in the world, Singapore has no contribution to GDP. But in terms of Global Food Security Index, number one in the world. But their contribution to agriculture to GDP is zero. Sri Lanka, 8% GDP and 25% workforce in agriculture. We are the 66th position out of 113 countries. That means just because we have 25% or higher proportion of workforce in agriculture, or agriculture contributes to greater share of GDP, it does not mean much in terms of food security, because Singapore per capita income is over $65,000 per capita income. Sri Lanka is, I think, now less than 3,000 because of the depreciated dollar. So what is here, I think this is the point we have to understand. Unless this high workforce in agriculture, higher contribution. Now you see, Austria, Netherlands, their contribution agriculture to GDP is only 2%, but they are largest exporters. Now USA 1%, right? But the number one exporter in the world in terms of food. So what I would say is there's a relationship between self-sufficient food security. Now, food security, when you call it, availability, affordability, and quality and safety. So this food security, this index, Global Food Security Index, this one, this include many factors going beyond hunger. So contrary to expectation, food security does not depend on agriculture of the country, though agriculture is essential for food security, right? But it doesn't mean that agriculture is not important. Agriculture is very important, but we understand there are so many other factors contributing to food security, including purchasing power, Kraya Shakti is important. I think I would be failing in my duty if I don't underline. Here now, Singapore, number one position. But with the advent of COVID, they had problem because the supply chain disrupted. And they had a problem of getting food because they don't produce, they have to import. So in the pandemic context, so they incorporated two more indices, natural resource base the formula. So from first position, they went down to the 11th position, but we are the 66th position. So I want to really make that point. Now, Singapore is the 11th position because they don't produce their own food. They have no natural resource base and poor resilience there. So that point I just want to highlight. And technology. I think we are tech savvy and we talk about innovation. Now you see the time taken to have 1 billion market penetration in terms of dollars, just to have a $1 billion market. In the past, it took about 20 years or even more. Google took 8 years, Facebook 5, Uber 2, and Snapchat 1. So we see the market penetration. Now technology is growing rapidly. You see technology, how exponentially increase. There's a phenomenal increase of technology. Now you see, especially after 2000, you see there. I think this one speaks volumes. You may have seen this, right? But now if one say this sleeping beauty, this lady, say had she gone to sleep in 1900 and woken up in 1950, you've not seen much of difference. But you go to sleep in 2000, wake up in 2050, oh, you will be flabbergasted. You won't be able to believe your eyes. That is the breathtaking rate at which this technology is developing. So there's a lot of technology. We need to use agriculture, also technology, moving away from this conventional type of agriculture. So challenge in the 21st century, we still use 80% of fresh water in agriculture and 40% of land mass. So our motto in agriculture is, it's all common, but I want to underline that more from less, more from less. High yield, high quality, also with more profit, but with less land, less fertilizer, less energy, less weight, less water, less pesticide, less greenhouse gases, less labor, less environmental footprint, less health hazard, all which demand technological intervention. I just want to say, you all are familiar with that. Now we go paddy in practically all this in 20 districts, and yield varies from 2.5 metric tons to about 7 to 7.5 even certain areas. They use the same amount of water, fertilizer, whether 2.5 tons or 7 tons, same amount of water, fertilizer, pesticide, labor there. So we need to, and to produce 1 kilogram of rice, we spend about 3,000 to 4,000 or even more depending on the liter water, not sustainable. So we need the technological intervention. So this Sheikh Ahmed said, Stone Age didn't end for lack of stone, and the oil age will end not long before the world runs out of oil. So we have to also, it applies to agriculture, whether pesticides, weedicides, or water, whatever. I think we have to change the way we do it, not because we run out of them, but because of there are other issues. I think this is very relevant. This is the first oil minister in Saudi Arabia. So our production system has to be more productive, more resource efficient, more crop per drop, more resilient, more environment friendly, more responsive to health, more unwasteful, less wasteful, more profitable. This is a formidable challenge. This has to be met. We have talk about the zero waste agriculture. So it should be no waste, zero waste. So we have to get into circular economy, shift from linear model to circular economy. That is, I cannot underline the importance on this. So this is very important. We cannot see any waste. So we just start now. You see, we can't talk about landfills. We can't talk about incinerators. We can't incinerate garbage. There's nothing called garbage. This word should disappear from the vocabulary. It's circular. There's nothing called garbage in a circular economy. So fresh look needed because technological landscape changing, markets become increasingly sophisticated, dynamic and competitive, and consumers, there are stringent control on food quality, safety, and hygiene, and consumers become also very health conscious. So all that need. So this convergence of technologies needed: biotechnology, nano, ICT, electric. Now we talk about electric tongue, electric eye, electric nose. For tea tasting, now we can use this electronic tongue, e-tongue, right? Even if it is something adulterated, we can use that e-nose to see whether, examine organoleptic properties to check, right, whether it is adulterated or not. Very easy. So these techniques have, so agriculture, when talk about, it's not just agriculture. We need to work across disciplinary boundaries. We should have engineers. We should have environmentalist, we should have physicist, we should have ICT. So we have to work in a multidisciplinary setting. Now we always, our problems are very complex, multifaceted, multidimensional, multi-layered. So we need transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach to address these issues. So even some may say now milk, you can see go to supermarket, this is not actually chocolate flavor, this one is spoiled, right? The color changes, so people will see that because of nanotic, simple thing. So we need new agriculture, 21st century, eco-friendly, resource efficient, with low external input, tech savvy, resilient and tradable, for which policy interventions and planning is necessary. And this is the message I want to get to the students. I come to the end of, I again quoting George Bernard Shaw. It's a very important session. I like to congratulate the Vice Chancellor, Dean, and also the students for really embarking upon important research. Now, during our time, we never thought of doing research this way, and we never had any opportunity or platform to make a we were not even thinking in terms of research. But now it's we are very happy. We want to foster and nurture this culture, and I wish you all the best, these students, and I'm sure you are well armed, well equipped with necessary knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values to give a new dimension, new momentum, and new direction to our agriculture. And I wish you all the best, and conclude my address is again quoting George Bernard Shaw. He said, all reasonable men adapt themselves to the world. Only a few unreasonable ones persist in trying to adapt the world to themselves. All progress in the world depend on these unreasonable men and their innovative and often non-conformist action. Dear students, I think you have a Vice Chancellor who is unreasonable in this context. And you have a Dean who is unreasonable. You have dons who are unreasonable. We have also fair proportion of students who are unreasonable. They don't do this, they don't travel in the beaten track. They are doing things non-conformist, innovative approach. I again thanks for the opportunity given, and I wish the university, the faculty, and the graduate students all the success in your future endeavors. Thank you.
A nice message for the Sri Lankan young blood that you need to select to which category you want to fall in, whether to be a visionary thinker or to be a slave who works under visionary thinkers. So, yeah, that's it. Once again, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Since our keynote speaker, Professor Ranjit Senaratne, joined with us virtually, we will take this opportunity to offer the token of appreciation virtually. So kindly accept our heartfelt gratitude, and we herewith symbolizes the awarding of the token of appreciation through the Vice Chancellor, Sir, Sabaragama University of Sri Lanka.
Oh, my appreciation. Thank you. All the best.
Well, coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, is the most awaited item on the agenda. It is now the time for us to pay attention to research highlights in AgSURS-2022. So you may find 44 outstanding research studies under 7 thematic areas. They are
agricultural economics and agribusiness management,
agri-environmental modeling,
agronomy and soil sciences,
food processing and post-harvest technology,
livestock production and food safety,
breeding and biotechnology,
and plant protection.
You may now pay your attention to research highlights of AgSURS-2022.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6,
After witnessing the outstanding research outputs of the undergraduates, we take this opportunity to declare open the e-version of the Book of Abstracts, AgSURS-2022.
For that, once again, we would like to cordially invite Senior Professor Udaya Ratnayaka, the Vice Chancellor, Sabaragama University of Sri Lanka. Sir, please proceed to the computer. Thank you very much, sir.
As we have come to the end of the inaugural program, I cordially invite Ms. Obini Tisanayaka, the Secretary, AgSURS 2022, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Guest of honor, Senior Professor Udaya Ratnayaka, the Vice Chancellor of Sabaragama University of Sri Lanka, Professor Asha Karunaratne, Dean of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Professor Ranjit Senaratne, Chairman of the National Science Foundation and the keynote speaker of the session, Chairperson of the symposium, Dr. R.K.C. Jivanti, Deans of the Faculty, Professor E.P.N. Udayakumara, present at the time being, and directors of the centers of the university, registrar, bursar, all head of the departments, symposium coordinator, and ladies and gentlemen. This has become one of the most memorable occasions in the history of the faculty as the first ever undergraduate symposium held by Faculty of Agricultural Sciences. Even it is at the midst of a crisis in the country, it has been a great success. We have come to the end of the inauguration ceremony. On behalf of the organizing committee of AgSURS 2022, first of all, I should thank the keynote speaker, Professor Ranjit Senaratne, for disseminating the knowledge and facts and his experience on needed transformation of conventional agriculture into a tech-savvy, knowledge-based circular business. For this overwhelming success, I extend my most sincere thanks for the guest of honor, Professor Udaya Ratnayaka, for gracing this occasion. We should convey our sincere gratitude to the Dean of the Faculty for initiating and guiding throughout the symposium preparation and up to the very last moment. Our grateful thanks are directed to the coordinator, Mr. Nimesh Madhushankar, and all our chairs and members of the organizing committees. The editorial committee, head by Professor Anil Gunratne, the publication committee, head by Professor M. Isha, fundraising committee by Dr. Jagat Munasinghe, the logistic committee by of the conference chairperson. I take this opportunity to thank our technical arrangement team led by Mr. Satute Ileperuma, who came up with moderate and resource-efficient solution from the very first beginning of abstract collection, reviewing, and arranging the event in virtual mode. Our special thanks go to Dr. Champika Pereira and Mr. M. Navinan for their fullest cooperation to get the abstract book done within a very limited time. Further, we should thank Dr. Manjula Vijayavikrama for his contribution towards successful of the symposium. Moreover, we should pay our appreciation to Ms. Shalini Kanchanamala and Mr. Sudanta Fernando for the copy editing. Apart from that, our thanks should be gone to Dr. Amila Bandara and Mr. Anuragunratna for the preparation of research highlights. Also, our heartiest thanks goes to Mr. Supun Dhananjay Bandar, student from our Food Business Management degree program, for designing the logo what we see here today. I also extend thanks to Mr. Anra Guratna, Audiovisual Technical Officer, for providing his fullest cooperation to succeed this event. There will be 8 technical sessions. These sessions will be chaired by the experts in the field of specialization and will be assisted by the rapporteurs, coordinators, technical committees, and panel of reviewers. Also, would like to take this moment to thank for their support and wish them to carry out the session fruitfully. I also extend thanks to Registrar Bursa for their cooperation in the institution for helping us in this function. All the staff members of the faculty, both external and internal facilitators connected with the holding of this symposium are to have our gratitude and thanks. Our thanks are due to all the sponsors. Ahead, Southern Builders, Versatile Business Solution, Ceylon Biscuit Limited for funding us to make this event financially sound. I would like to take this opportunity to thank to our respectful presenters without whom the color and glamour of the symposium would have been absent. Their valuable findings in their research will be discussed in the technical sessions to be held in the afternoon. Before I conclude, I therefore thank you all once again for your excellent cooperation, and this symposium will be remembered everybody's share in the success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ovini Disanaika. Well, with that note, we have come to the very end of this session. So let me request you all to rise to the university anthem.
Thank you, everyone. We invite you all to join with us at the refreshments. And after the break, you can join the 4 technical sessions under the themes of agricultural economics and agribusiness management, agri-environmental modeling, agronomy and soil sciences, food processing, and post-harvest technology. These sessions will be delivered through the shared Zoom links. Also, we have a small kind request to make from the dignitaries. Kindly give us 5 minutes of your valuable time for a quick photo session. This will make the memories of AgSURS-2022 stay forever. Thank you, everyone, and we wish you all a productive and insightful afternoon.